Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records of cash. We laughing, we drafting the passion to vary. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Conscious is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magic, let's basking it. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers, what? All the answers.
All right, a little bit of a wacky morning for you, huh?
Oh, fuck a duck in my asshole. Take a duck, put it in my butt, and call it fucking.
Okay, good morning. That's morning imagery for me. Thanks. Appreciate it. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Cassidy Brown. This is Katie Rubin. You're on all the answers. Fuck a duck, put it in your asshole.
Bend over a chair, squeeze a goose into Uranus. Then you're where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. All
Hey,
right.
spirituality, everybody.
This is your morning drive time, spirituality. I still have morning voice.
That's good. I'm shoving potatoes into my mouth.
There's other places you can shove them. Hey.
Hey, good morning. Wacky on the ones.
I have my soundboard here.
I really do. It'd be like a slide rule. Like the whole thing.
A little Woody Woodpecker.
Why can't we have that?
Speaking of which, we got Zoom bombed in a group meditation the other day. We were
Say
doing
more.
this group meditation for like peace around the world, specifically in Kiev. Denise was had me, invited me to do it, and we were doing it, and it had just started. We were just starting to like breathe into our lower spheres, whatever. And suddenly this face comes on, and it was clearly like someone had spoofed their camera so that it was coming through like it was them, but it was like a GIF or a GIF. And I'm going to back off my mic because it was like a face with super wide eyes going.
What?
It was super jarring, and that wasn't it. So then we were like, oh, fuck. And the host was like, kick that person off. It's a good thing there was a host who was paying attention to it.
Right.
This was actually with Rennie, and the host was your producer.
Yvonne?
Yvonne was the host.
Huh.
So Yvonne's like, oh, God, beep. And then like 10 seconds later, another spoofed camera. It was like a guy. I think this one might have been live. It's like a guy with like an overhead shot, like sitting in a computer going, 1, 2, 3, fuck Putin, fuck Putin, fuck Putin. Like just screaming. I think he was screaming, fuck Putin. It was hard to tell.
Wait, what? These things were just coming into your Zoom?
Yeah, that was something that was happening at the beginning of like when all the Zoom meetings were happening in 2020.
Huh.
Before they like got better at security.
Okay.
And like people were coming on with like racist bullshit in a classroom or in, meetings.
I missed all of that.
Yeah, it was bad. There was a lot of Zoom bombing, a lot of trolling going on. But I hadn't heard about it for a while. I know it's happened to some friends of mine doing like, an event, and like, especially racist stuff has been a real common way of like showing really brutal imagery of awful things. Yeah, it's just a thing that people have, I'm going to get my kicks. They get nothing out of it except their own fucked up boners.
Okay, first of all, there's 9 things that are happening here. 1, you did an event with like 2 of my buddies.
I know.
And it's not like your type of thing either. So I'm like, wait, you were hanging out with Rennie and Yvonne?
It was Denise's thing. So,
That's fair.
She was like, she's been doing them. They've been doing them weekly. And she was like, you want to do it? And she was over. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Cool.
So we did it.
And it was a meditation tell me more.
For Ukraine, that was the basic thing. And then it kind of broadened out from there. It was like sending light and love and healing to people and to the leaders, and spent a little time trying to do something with Putin's vibe. And, what are you going to do? We did what we could.
Snipers? Did you guys get any snipers?
We did spiritual snipers. We were sending like long range love healing bullets. Hollow tipped, fragmentary bullets full of love.
Perfect.
That'd be an interesting way of approaching that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like using like really violent imagery, but still filling them with love.
That's actually really funny. I'm choking on a potato. Oh, man.
All right, now that you've eaten, I can stop talking and say, hey, Katie, what's going on? How was it crazy for you this morning?
Oh, just like it's one of those where, when you have a day where you're just behind everything. And also, in this case, part of the reason is that whole, crazy liver thing I had go on the other day.
Yeah.
Has left me in a place where I'm, it's very important what I put in my mouth. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No? All right. It's very important.
No, go on. I care about you, and I want your liver to feel better.
It's very important I eat like really specifically right now. So I've been following, and this is great for our listeners. The medical medium, who's this guy who's a medium about medical stuff. And he wrote a bunch of cookbooks, a bunch of like recipe books of like, okay, if you have these 3 problems, do this cleanse for this many days, exactly with these foods. And so I've been really following his thing and doing what he says. And it takes a lot of preparation. Like I bought a juicer and I'm having like celery juice every single morning.
Yeah.
Which is really effective.
Yeah, it's also like weirdly energizing, isn't it?
Yes.
It shouldn't be. It's just water and fiber, but I've heard that about celery.
It's really good.
My friend had a can of celery juice, like from the 1960s on his shelf.
Okay.
It was like a kitschy thing, but it was real. It was funny because it was a can of celery juice. And I remember it said, for that logy feeling, like they'd use the word logy, which I think means like not very energized.
Oh.
And I've always thought that. So like clearly they've known for a long time that, or at least for 50 years, that celery juice is good for that logy feeling.
I've never heard that word logy. It works though.
You know what it means. You can kind of tell.
Yeah, totes. So yeah, celery juice every morning. So it's like hot water with lemon. And then half an hour later, you do a fuck ton of celery juice, which takes like, you got to like do it. And then very specific fruits and potatoes and none of this and none of that. And, and so it's a lot of prep. And then like,
Interesting that potatoes is a major part of it. I guess they're very mild.
Well, get this. He has like chapters about the potato. He's like, unfortunately, at a certain point in the marketing machine of food, like it got lumped in the potato with white foods.
Right.
And he's like, actually, it isn't. It's incredibly nutritious and full of all this, and this vitamin and this nutrient. And it's not a white food. It's not like
right.
mac and cheese.
Right.
It's a really
It's not processed. It's pure. Well, because it's...
Yeah. And like I was thinking too about when I read that chapter, I was thinking about the potato famine, like when the people, they were just living on, doesn't that mean that they were living only on potatoes or does it?
No, it means that the potato crop failed.
Right.
And then that means we're really in a famine because that was the staple of their diet.
But anyway, to make the point, it's like if you're living mostly on potatoes and you're doing well, like it's not like that culture was ill before their famine.
Right.
Maybe. Anyway, so I liked learning that potatoes are nutritious because potatoes are delicious.
Yeah.
And that works out. So like.
I love them.
But I can't, there's like so much I can't have and I'm not doing processed food and I'm off espresso again, day 5 or something at this point. And.
Do you have that logy feeling?
Kinda. It's more spacey. Like my brain doesn't lock in on stuff a lot. Anyway, and then like between clients and errands and feeling weird and chopping celery, it's just a lot. And so I have to get into a kind of a new routine of do all the and Squeeze is like at her dog sitter today and that's a thing. And there was just one too many things to chop and get to and not eat on time. That's what happened. That's what happened, Cass.
I'm sorry that you're still recovering.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's rough.
Let's frame it like, I'm sorry that you're you.
Or I could do the opposite framing is, I'm glad you're recovering.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I'm glad you have things that you can recover with.
That's
you
a good
way
like
a sailor.
That's a third thing. I've had like 3 ideas. You look like you're either going to rob a bank or...
if I pull this down over my face. Yeah.
Or tell me a poem.
Yep, also, little beat.
Or be a sailor. Cassidy's in like a black,
sort
all
of a
black
roll
with
neck
a black
sweater.
Roll neck sweater, skull cap hat.
It's sort of a watch cap, they call this. I don't know why it's called a watch cap, but that's the...
Maybe when you were...
like a stocking cap that's tight to the head. Also sometimes called a beanie.
I would call that a beanie. I've never heard watch cap. I wonder if that comes from you're sitting in a lighthouse and it's so cold you got to wear your...
Totally the image I have.
You're watching stuff. You're like, is that a boat? Is that a whale? I'm watching.
Like if you saw the lighthouse, they were wearing this hat.
Exactly. Okay, so for the listener and for ourselves, I can't really sincerely from the bottom of my heart, the fact that Sam Shaw is coming on the podcast today, I'm nourished already and he's not even here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm nervous already because
no.
I don't know what's coming.
No, I see. You know how some people just, this brings me back to human design. What a surprise. But some people just, when they're in your auric field, they just do things to your field that makes you feel nourished. And it doesn't matter how they are or who they are. You know what I mean? You could be the most curmudgeonly fucker, for example. Just random example off the top of my head. And I just want to hug you and love you.
Don't know where you got that.
Yeah, where'd that come from? Because he's just a delight. I just find him delightful.
Well, it's partially because we know truly in his heart, like he is a curmudgeon in the way he expresses, but you know at every moment that he's 100% A, there for you, B, cares, C, I don't know. I just lost my train of thought because he's in the waiting room, but he's
let
early.
him in. Let him in.
Let's just start. Let's just bring Sam in now.
Let's say words at Sam.
Yeah. I don't remember
we have
how
a
to do this.
If you're a
he
fisherman,
left. He came in and he left.
No,
he'll be back. He realized he was too early.
Tell him to come back. Just text him. By the way, if you're a fisherman, more of a fisherman than a sailor, I'd say. What am I with my leopard shirt? I'm just like a lady who runs a boutique in Beacon, New York.
It has a tiny dog.
Okay.
That sometimes you carry in a purse.
I wish I could carry Squeezel in a purse. I really do. It would make my life a lot easier. She's just a little too big. If you had a huge ass purse.
Yeah.
I could find a way.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of work, though.
Yeah. Beacon. How's Beacon treating you?
I'm sad. I want to get the fuck out of here.
Oh, no. You just got there, Katie. Stop. Remember, what is it? There's something in recovery about trying to solve things with location. What's the term?
I know. Geographic cure. That's my whole thing I'm navigating right now. Is are you trying to pull a geographic, Katie? Or are you I'm just unhappy right now with because winter has kicked my fucking ass. But we did have a spring day yesterday and we have one today. I'm so sad. Winter has just been really hard.
Okay. So what we're realizing is that you need to have a winter home. You'll probably love Beacon again as soon as it turns nice.
I hope so.
And then you'll fall all in love with it again. You have all your awesome neighbors and you keep posting beautiful pictures of the walks and the lakes and you love it. But the winter's kicking your ass. So what we're realizing is you need to get well situated enough to have a pied-à-terre somewhere to winter in.
That is true. And I also need some more. I need my days. I need to come out of COVID Zoom lifestyle. And I kind of haven't yet because my business just is that. I need my days to have more humans in them. I need to feel a sense of belonging to things. And I don't have any of that going on. I have leading things from my house and then resting in my house and then leading another thing from my house and then resting in my house. And I don't have a thing where it's all of us together are doing this thing. And I really need that. And I also just haven't, I don't know if that needs to be in the form of a job that I do outside of the house or just some, I'm missing 12-step stuff. I'm missing just anything where humans get together and it's just sharing from the heart, not Katie's in charge of things that happen now.
You need a peer group.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I'm letting Sam in now.
Okay.
He's here. Wait, finish that thought.
Well, I have individual friends. I've my friend over there a bunch of miles away and my friend over there a bunch of miles away and one friend in town and friends all over the globe. But I want right here, 5 people. We do stuff. Yeah. Peer group. That's it.
Word.
Don't have it.
You need a karaoke bar is what you need.
Interesting.
And here comes Sam.
Maybe you're right. Oh, look at that adorable picture.
Yeah, I think he's on his son's sign-in.
That's so cute.
He's
got a little, oh my fucking God.
Yeah,
that's what she said. Oh my God, I miss you. Suck my butthole. I miss your face. I miss you so much. There you are. What are you doing? Don't be dumb. come here, be here. And
Wait, he's recording.
I'm here. I'm just hitting record on the thing so I can preserve this for posterity. I'm here now, present.
oh, Sam Shaw.
It's great to see you.
You too. Why is your microphone fancy with green lights on it? That's so cool. It has like a necklace.
It was a midlife crisis purchase. That's why.
How so? Tell us more.
Like every sad dad across America, I need to do a podcast.
So the green lights make it, is it quelch, squelch? Does it do verbs? Does it do what you need it to do? What is it for?
I don't know. Ambiance. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Did you buy it because you were trying to feel better about your life?
I bought it because I'm sitting on a ton of really cool comedy recordings, and I thought I could start a podcast to kind of unearth them and present them.
Right.
And someday I will. But now I have it for you so I can get all the answers.
Okay, great. We'll give them to you. I have them right here. I'll just hand them over.
Yeah.
Well, you could do. So we had one guy who had a podcast that was based on using random Garfield strips as an oracle, which was pretty cool.
Really cool.
The one that came up for Katie was amazing.
It was
we'll
amazing.
have to go back and find that episode and listen. But you could figure out a way to randomize your comedy routines. Your comedy routines. I hate that term for some reason.
Uh-huh.
Me too. I hate that term.
Your sketch recordings, and then use ask the oracle, an answer to a question, and then play a random audio sketch and be like, oh, that helps, that solves it.
That's really good.
That's great, Cassidy. Thanks. I don't have ideas of my own, so it's really great to get them
for free. Right there, friend.
Sorry, I'm gentle. I got to fix my name on this because it has my son's name.
I can't see it. We don't care.
This won't get seen.
No.
But you can change it. You know how to do that.
We do want to tell the listening audience, Sam had the cutest little stick figure hand-drawn image as his photo on Zoom, which was I take it your child made that piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Much longer ago than he is now, because he's now like a person with thoughts.
Yeah, he still draws that way.
Oh, that's great. Good. He's like me.
How old is he, actually?
He is 11. He's delightful.
Oh, God, that's the best age.
He's fun. It's, if you're going to pick an age range to be a total shut-in on home detention as a family for 2 years,
yeah.
I have to go with 9 to 11 as the sweet spot. He didn't miss out on soccer championships or prom or those milestones that the youth are going to hate the adults for having lost for the rest of their lives. And he's not like a toddler where we have to struggle working from home and with childcare at the same time. So he's very much an indoor boy. He's really plugged into his video games. We're getting outside. He's going to start an acting class next month.
Fun.
I'm excited about that.
Very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so we should tell the audience who you are. Who the hell are you? The three of us had an improv trio. I feel in my soul we still have an improv trio.
I do too, Kate.
We just don't, at this moment, do shows with it.
Sometimes known as the law offices of Brown, Rubin, and Shaw.
Thank you.
That's the long name, usually just shortened to Brown, Rubin, and Shaw.
And we were having rehearsals once a week. We did a couple shows in the Bay Area. I was having a goddamn blast because I hadn't done improv in too long. And these two gentlemen got me back feeling alive with it. And I miss it so much. I'll tell you the truth.
We were creating new forms and playing with new things and, spreading our wings a little bit right before the shit hit the fan, weren't we?
I think so, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I was just telling Cass before you came on, I'm desperate for a trip to California. I just miss California so much right now. And winter is a stupid joke. It's a fucking shit show. It's a knife in your eye. And I'm done with it. And it's luckily starting to wrap its little fucking dog and pony show up for the goddamn season. Thank you. Fuck. But yeah, my body, everything in my body is like vitamin D and California vibes and where are my people and fuck.
Do you think if you were getting the other D, you'd feel better?
Probably.
The alternative vitamin D?
Probably. The D does many
Sam,
things.
I'm talking about dick penis.
Thanks, Cassidy.
Cock.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So you're thinking of a trip out this summer, Katie?
I'm like, give me a plane now. Like, I want to do it now. I'm brainstorming, like, how quickly, when, and how, and where. Like, I don't know. I don't actually know when I can do it, but yes is the answer.
Did
Yes.
Cassidy lay down my little wild hair dream that I have about us coming to you?
I laid that dream to him.
Well, I bounced it off racquetball style to your face, and I will do that right now.
Okay, go.
I'm taking a sabbatical from my day job for a chunk of time starting in July.
Yes.
There's a chance that my son and I will be traveling to New Hampshire.
A week
For like a
Hold on. There's more.
family camp situation.
All
There's
right.
more.
Somebody's going to prison. Somebody going to prison?
No,
Somebody's
literally,
pregnant. Is anybody pregnant?
I said a family camp, and that's exactly what I meant.
There's no.
And
it's not a.
it's not a euphemism.
Somebody's going to drinking school.
Family camp. It's an intervention. His son has had a rough time.
It's an intervention for his son. His 10-year-old son is going to Betty Ford.
We are then considering, and I'm just loosely planning this now, and of course it depends on both of you, planning to stay with my child, my boy, for another week so I could visit my dear Aunt Betsy in Westchester County, New York. No.
That's right down the street from me.
And so my dream
this was my dream. How has this turned into your dream? It was my dream. And I pitched it to Cassidy, and he probably told you. And seriously.
Right. And this is Sam developing your dream.
I'm yes ending your dream.
There's no ownership here, Katie.
I'm so excited.
This is improv. Remember how improv works?
No, I don't. No, denial. Deny everything.
I need ownership and credit.
Yes. Okay, go.
There is no Aunt Betsy in your dream, Katie, so I don't know what you're talking about. I go, so the plan would be we plan a show in Beacon, right? On a Thursday night. I have the date that this would be.
You have to find a theater.
Did you save this conversation for this fucking podcast? I'm going to shit on myself.
So hold on, more. Me, my boy, and my mama.
They're not in the show, don't worry.
We go to see my Aunt Betsy. You and Cassidy come to her house. It's a beautiful, beautiful home.
It's a mansion, apparently.
We all hang out in this beautiful home for a night and just treat my Aunt Betsy, who's up there. Great. She lives by herself with an African gray parrot named Gorbachev. You are going to love her.
What?
We hang out there.
We should shoot a movie, I'm saying.
And then in the morning, the three of us go up to Beacon and work out for a couple hours at the place of your choosing and then do a show that night. My mom, my son, Aunt Betsy come to the show.
I have no parts of me that say no to this. I don't care what date it is. I don't care who else is there. Yes.
We could get some folks from your neighbors, Banana Bag and Bodice, live nearby. That's Jason and Jessica, who you don't know, but they also live in Beacon.
I do know them. I've hung out with them like 3 times now.
Maybe they have something weird that they're working on because they're like creators of weird ass theater.
Oh, I'll totally tell them about it.
I have a date. You guys can have half the show or something.
I have a date with her Thursday.
Oh, well, there you go.
We could even do it at their house. They have like a performance space in their yard.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I've been there a bunch.
Oh my God, it's happening.
I also have like 4 other spaces we could rent. Like there's a million options. I'm thrilled.
We'll continue this conversation offline, but I was super stoked about this idea. And then I just had to float the date by Cassidy because there's a single day that I think it could work.
Okay, what's the date?
August 11th.
Fine.
It's a Thursday.
Great. Done. Unless I've already migrated back to California by then.
Or I'm booked in a show, which is not going to happen because apparently I'm not an actor anymore. But back to Sam Shaw.
Cass, you renamed my name on Zoom against my consent. And
I did.
It says Sam the Curmudgeon Shaw. I'm shedding that skin, man. I'm happy to talk about this today. I am
Let's talk about
this.
it.
Let's talk about shedding their curmudgeon.
Yeah.
Sam's kind of known to be a hair of a curmudgeon, just a wee bucket one, or has been in the past, but no longer, sir. Tell us more.
No, you know how, there's like a guy that you work with, just generic, that guy who's just like legitimately like funny a lot, like all the time, but doesn't go that much deeper. But even though he's like kind of funny, it's just exhausting, it's just like,
yes,
give me something else, give I'm doing that to myself. I'm like, give me something else to myself.
Nice.
I'm like identifying myself as that guy, and I'm trying to keep the best of that guy and shed the worst of that guy.
Rock on. And what are some of the qualities of what are the qualities of the guy? Like, what are the shed parts and what are the keep parts?
It's hard to know, man, because it's like all armor, isn't it? Like, and so what part of the armor do you shed, or when do you realize that the armor is actually working against you, or it's not like armor anymore? Like, when is the scab ready to like come off?
Oh, I can tell you exactly about mine. I can tell you all about mine. I'm very clear about it.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you about yours because you matter.
I don't know. But it's
But you
like,
had said the curmudgeon part. You're like, I'm shedding that. Is that part of what you're shedding?
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, this is like, last year was a pretty shitty year for like everybody. And a lot of us kind of fell into some bad habits just out of like self-care, just trying to like keep it the fuck together. I was kind of like, unthinkingly drinking a beer or two every night and just like getting through it, not raging alcoholism, but just mindlessness.
Yeah.
And I'm getting out of that now. I'm not fully abstaining, but I'm being more mindful about it and trying to like keep it together, trying to exercise more. There's so much that is like basic that everybody says, you really should do that. You really should exercise. You need to get out and get your heart pumping. You really need to meditate. You need to clear your mind, and you have to like get rid of all this shit in your brain. And everybody like hears that shit so much that it gets boring, as if it's just like, okay, I get it. But then nobody does it. And so then they all just devolve into puddles. And it
Well, some of us do it, Sam.
Well, God bless you. God bless you.
But listen, it's all of us do it eventually out of some desperation. It's not like we do it because we're superior. We do it.
Oh, yeah. You either meditate now or meditate when you're 6 feet under. You know what I mean? It's like.
Oh, okay.
It's easier then. Not a lot of thoughts distracting you.
There are two things that I keep on my bed table, that are keeping me going.
Okay.
The first.
A little bit of heroin.
Roomy.
Oh,
right?
Roomy. Sorry, Roomy.
Getting into Roomy. The second, Prepper Magazine.
What the hell is that?
It's for doomsday preppers.
Oh.
That's a good joke.
I bought this at Safeway. It says, be ready now. But listen, it's got self-reliance skills, disaster planning, how to recognize hidden dangers.
Oh, good. This is important.
Everybody can use this.
I don't think it's entirely incorrect.
So I'm recognizing hidden dangers right now.
Are there instructions for building a bunker in that one particular one, or like shelter spaces?
I don't think, no, it doesn't go that deep. It's actually, this magazine is strangely nonpartisan. It's really weird.
Huh. That's cool.
That's interesting.
But back to the parts of shedding and the parts of keeping, because this is what we do on this podcast. We're looking at like truths, deep truths. We own our stuff. We're publicly vulnerable. When people say they're like shedding this or getting rid of that, they often have a sense of like specifically some of the things they want to not be doing or being anymore. I go through these all the time. Like, I feel like my entire life is like, oh, see a new thing that's challenging and needs to be let go of, or see a new thing I'm not doing and not engaging with that I could benefit from. So to me, it's very, very every day is that. So I'm still kind of, I'll back off after this last try, but I'm just trying to get any sense of like, could you be more specific? Because we're interested in you. You're here on the podcast because we're interested in you.
I would imagine that the things you can identify are the things you want to shed, not necessarily the things you want to keep.
Yeah. And what are they?
Right. What I want to shed is just baggage and old thinking and old negative thought loops that have been in place for a long while.
Yeah.
There's a powerful metaphor that I've kind of carried through in my life that's been really hitting me right now, or an image, I guess, not a metaphor, of stagnant water. And I used to apply this everywhere. I write about it first about someone who's describing Long Island. They're like, Long Island's weird. Everybody's crazy in Long Island, especially on the east side, because nobody circulates. It's just, there's no circulation or revival. It's just,
nobody leaves, nobody comes. It's just stays.
And I've had that, I've used that for like theaters that I've had a gripe about. That theater is like a bathtub that doesn't drain properly.
Mm-hmm.
Good image.
And then my therapist read me this Rumi poem, and I'm really on the shore of Rumi. I barely even dug in. I just bought a book. The book's barely open, but I found a couple of poems in there that I really love. And she talked about this metaphor of bad water. And it's like, you need to like drill the well so the water goes into the river.
Correct.
And if you don't do that sitting there. So I'm feeling like I felt like a general feeling of kind of constipation in terms of my creative life, in terms of my professional life, in terms of my emotional life, of just kind of, I need to drill that hole through the stone to get this water out.
Yeah, I get it.
So what am I trying to shed? I'm trying to shed a large degree of my cynicism. Because I'm looking at that strongly.
Rock on.
I'm trying to get to a place where I have an open heart, where things don't sting so bad, where I'm more resilient. And so there's a lot of that. I got to get shit moving.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much in my life that I'm so grateful for and blessed by. My son being one, my family, I'm employed, I've got money coming in, you know, I've got a roof over my head. But for people who have like an incredible creative impulse, to have that denied for whatever reason, whether it's their own damn fault or lack of opportunity, it's hard to fucking deal with.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, you know, working on that. The cynicism piece, I think, is like a big one, because I kind of identified, even like romanticized cynicism in my 20s. Like it was something to be proud of, but it's really a disempowered stance, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
And, you know, one of my people who I look up to most, I don't look up to most, I don't idolize him, but I draw a lot of wisdom from him, is Ian MacKaye from Fugazi, this band Fugazi. Is also, he's an icon of hardcore punk rock from DC. He said, cynics are excused from standing up to problems.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So good.
And that's both within oneself and at the public at large, because the cynicism is there's your armor you're talking about. It's the perfect armor, because if you say, I reject that, I don't fuck that thing, then you don't have to engage. Then that's your reason for not succeeding in that thing, or for not growing in that space, or trying, or, you know.
Yeah.
If I don't care, then I haven't failed.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Then I don't have to risk failure if I'm too cool for it anyway, or if I'm cynical about it.
Yeah, there's something there. And there's a documentary I watched by this guy, Adam Curtis, who does these really hard-hitting documentaries and video essays.
He's the Century of the Self and things like that.
Yeah, Hypernormalization, Power of Nightmares. Incredible. Just find him on YouTube. And find him debating Russell Brand. It's amazing. But he talks about how in the 70s, this, you know, the left in America just fell into this useless cynicism that was just not up to the challenge of resisting the evil that was gathering its forces, you know, like. And he compared, like, basically it's like Donald Trump in the late 70s had the levers of power and nothing was slowing him down. But Patti Smith just checked out. She was like, why bother? Why bother do any of this? Everything's corrupt. Why bother? Post-Vietnam, post-70s. Nah, why bother? And it's just like, we need people to fucking bother, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, but you're speaking to something so important that's happening right now. I mean, we're back in one of those dark cycles. It's a very real dark time where it's for the challenge. I mean, we all know this of the liberal someone interested in democracy is you have to be a certain amount of sensitive to give a shit about democracy. And then that sensitivity makes it hard for you to stand up to someone who has no sensitivity and wants to kill democracy. Because you're like, it hurts. Why are we having to do this? Let's just democratize. But we're so sensitive, we can't show up for the task at hand. So it's a weird catch-22, because the gift that makes you understand from your heart the value of unity, oneness, democracy is the same thing that creates the challenge that makes it hard to stand up for it when it comes time to fight.
That's right. That's right. And in those times, you know, cynics don't change hearts and minds, right? And so, you know, we had decades of The Daily Show and Stephen Colbert just like destroying, quote unquote, the idiots on the right thinking that mockery might be a positive force in society. And in fact, that mockery just built up that hump of hate, didn't it? Didn't do anything.
You think?
Yeah, I do. I do. I don't think
character was unproductive.
I think people who are mocked harden themselves.
Right.
I don't think they change their minds.
Sometimes, but you're right. The majority of people, you're right. It doesn't work for people. They just shut down, right? Or they wall up.
They're like, yeah, screw you. You know, you're being mean to me. You're pointing out how I'm being inconsistent. Well, yes, whatever. Boo.
Yeah, that's my whole, what you're describing right now is so on point for what we do here, because you're describing my whole, where I get into conflict with comedy in general and where I've found myself disengaging myself. I've also been disengaged from that way more so than I used to be, like way less engaged. And it's because I'm so worried about not doing that. Like, I don't want to do comedy that polarizes. I don't want to polarize. The world doesn't need more polarity. It needs more unity. So then the real truth is you can do comedy that unifies. I just haven't been doing a lot of it because my own cynicism, and I would say defeatism and like sadness, really too. There can be so much sadness about the world that it's just like getting up to fight another day. It can really take a lot out of you, you know? And I listened to, I joke about it on here a lot, but I listen to Armchair Expert almost every day, and I listen to Smartless in between episodes of Armchair Expert. And I think a lot about why am I so into these two podcasts? And they're both industry podcasts with actors who've done really well and then can afford to make a podcast, unlike us who can't afford it, but are doing it anyway. And part of it is that in order to have gotten to where people like Dax Shepard and the guys on Smartless, Will Arnett and Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes are, you have to have really like dealt with the battle a long time. Like they've been in the Hollywood game, which is a high energy battlefield in a way for a long time and have succeeded at that war. They didn't run away from the conflicts they're in. They dove headfirst into them and rose to the top. And so when I'm listening to them, it's like they are me. Like I feel that kinship where you're like, comedian is comedian is comedian. Like they're just funny people and I relate to them. And I'm like, I can hang with these guys, which is how everybody feels when they listen to funny people. So we all kind of identify that way, you know what I mean? But then there's the next level where I admire them for, I couldn't hang and they hung. And whatever that is, that a cynical part of me wanted to be like, I'm above this and I can't, this is too warring for me because I'm so refined and spiritual. And then I realized like, I'm so sensitive. I can't, I'm so sensitive that I have a hard time with it. And then I go, okay, well, that's okay. And I practice self-love around it, but I don't anymore need to make them wrong or need to make them anybody else. They're just like resilient. And I can't judge myself for being less resilient, but I also can't judge them for being fucking badasses. And I feel like that's the thing of adulthood and maturity is when you finally go, okay, I really can't justify judging anyone for anything ever because you don't know what's going on with them. And also everybody's dealing with their own context and you don't know what it is. And then people who are winning at the game of life, to judge them is so lazy and easy. It's the easiest cop-out in the world.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with that phrase, winning at the game of life, Katie.
Uh-huh. Tell me more.
And, well, how would you know?
Well, there's a million areas I don't know about. But what I mean is in the visible way, where it's like they made money in creative careers and got like status, money, and fame.
Sure.
And the way our culture says success is. But you're right.
And
I don't
probably
know.
Sacrificed a ton and have hidden pain we know nothing about.
1,000,000%. And that's true. There's no confusion on that point. But I also admire them.
Sure. I'm at a strange place where I don't feel like I don't put any negative thoughts on like people who are succeeding in their profession. Like I don't have professional jealousy.
Yeah.
In that way. And mainly because I kind of feel like everybody has their own road. A lot of roads are greased with one way or the other. All of our roads are greased one way and not greased the other.
Right.
So I'm kind of stuck in a place where I'm kind of like, I enjoy art, but I see success in various fields as just like a fairy tale that is irrelevant to me personally.
Because...
And so then I'm not really putting myself in any kind of bucket.
But isn't that part of the cynicism?
Maybe. But that's the piece I'm going to keep.
Okay, because help me understand that a little bit. So why is it a fairy tale? What does that mean?
It's a fairy tale because there are advantages or disadvantages that people had at an early stage of their life when this pivotal decisions were being made or pivotal turning points in life were presented to them. Jason Bateman, as a child actor, dealing with the demons that any child actor would have to deal with, which are demons which I could never experience or relate to, nor would I want to. But it's, people just have different burdens that they have to deal with in their early careers that are not their choice. And, either they can deal with them or not, or they have those burdens or not.
I think we might be getting confused. When you said fairy tale, I think we thought you meant the possibility of you having any sort of dream
to realize
it's a fairy tale. But you're saying,
let's walk that back. Yeah.
That the romanticization of their success is the fairy tale. Like Jason Bateman's story is a fairy tale. Like it's whatever his story is, his story, and my version of it doesn't exist.
That's what I mean.
I see. That's different than what I thought.
I'm not referring to it's a fairy tale personally. That kind of fulfillment or success will never be available to me. That's not what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying. You're saying that the narrative we have about what his real life is like is we don't have any idea what the real life is like.
Right.
We have a narrative based on...
And to be a working artist or working actor or a working comic is real different now. It's harder every year. Fewer people can do it every year because we're in late stage capitalism and it's impossible to do shit that doesn't pay a decent amount of money anymore. And so it's becoming more and more rarefied.
This is where the cynicism.
Yeah, I'm like,
but
wait,
it's realism.
No. I'm a militant amateur. And when I say that, I believe that the future is community theater. That's what I believe.
Okay.
And I believe that everybody should be able to do theater if they want to.
Okay.
And so people who...
Militant amateur. Okay.
Who have succeeded in their way, whether they've had a long career filled with tons of great roles or long stretches. That's just, early on, you make a move. Either you have the talent, luck, and opportunity to realize early success or not. And if you have continued talent, luck, and opportunity, the industry will see talent and they'll see something that they can sell. And then you will probably be not without work for a long time.
But what about the people who don't have early, like Dax Shepard's narrative is like struggled for 10 years in Hollywood, got 0 bookings, booked nothing for 10 years, was a drunk alcoholic mess, and then happened to book one thing 10 years in that then led to other things. So that's not early success.
That's not early success, but that's 1 in a million. And for every Dax Shepard, there are 900 broken bodies in the gutter, aren't there?
Right. Okay. And so, but your point about that is that the narrative is a fantasy because only one person out of a million gets it. So so the narrative isn't.
So it's like a black swan. Like, good, great. I enjoy the work. I'm not going to enjoy you as an actor because you work particularly hard to get to this place, because that's kind of a bootstrapping myth that I don't believe in. And so that's it. And I'm trying to, that's not the part of cynicism that I want to keep, Cassidy. It's like, I want to have heroes. I really do. And I want to be, and I am, and I do have heroes, and I am inspired by people, but I'm inspired by people who have
maybe it's the measure of success that we're talking about that is troubling in this context. And we've talked about this before, Katie, where it was like wait,
but hold on, because I think I want to hear your thought, Cass, but you were almost going to answer the question when you said, Sam, I want to have heroes, but my heroes are people who. And then there wasn't. Who are they?
Trailed off.
Because if what you're saying is, we've all had this discussion before, by the way, and it always comes to the same place where Cass and I are going, wait, are you saying all things are impossible? And therefore, now what? And then we're both like,
I'm saying there's no map.
Well, that's true. There's certainly no map, but that doesn't mean the possibility is a fairy tale.
It's certainly not a fairy tale for people who realize that possibility.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
But but for me as an individual, it's kind of irrelevant to me as something that I can draw inspiration from.
I see. That makes more sense to me. That sentence works.
Right. Thank you. And so include that piece in the podcast. And not
for me, it doesn't.
We'll edit out all the rest. It'll be a really clear narrative. No, it's the struggle. It's the journey.
But for me, as an individual, it's kind of irrelevant to me as something that I can draw inspiration from. Back to Ian MacKaye, lead singer of Fugazi, founder of Discord Records, lead singer of Minor Threat and Teen Idols. He said someone came to Ian MacKaye, and I'm going to treat him like Jesus Christ, even though that's ridiculous.
So he's one of your heroes, is what I'm getting.
So he's a hero, yeah.
Someone said, how do I've got a band. How do I know when I'm a success?
Uh-huh.
And he says, you have a band, you're a success.
Are
you doing the art? You're a success. You're doing the thing, you've succeeded.
And do you feel in your body that that's true?
I feel that when I am, yes, yeah, absolutely. If I have a life where I have the family's going well, my son's healthy, things between me and my wife are good, my job, the thing that is giving me money is at least tolerable, if not like fulfilling, and I've got some kind of creative outlet going on, whether it's performing improvisational theater or developing directing a Twilight Zone episode, working on my long time documentary project on the committee, whether it's all of that, yes, success. If I have 3 legs of the stool are going, what else would I ever want?
Well, then, so you don't have any problems. You're good then.
I have a vision. No, because I'm not there right now. So that's a big if when those legs of the stool are functioning.
I see.
So that's the success.
But the success does not require a particular level of adulation or a particular
status,
dollar sign.
Cassidy, you know me. I'm the king of the 49-seat house, man.
Yeah.
Like I just need 49 people. I just need a full house. I'll use Gold Star, give them half tickets, comps.
49. That's generous.
I'll paper that.
We're
shit.
the king of the 23, the 3-seater, the 3 audience members being my late father-in-law, my late mother-in-law, and their friend. That was the show we had.
Yeah. It's a low bar. Take it to the nursing home. Just play. Just get something
I wish I hadn't
back.
come to this. Oh.
And so, that feels like a good day. Like if I have a week where one of my nights I'm playing with Cassidy and Katie.
Yeah.
That's a good week.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I would agree with that too. I feel that way as well. I just sometimes the way you frame sentences can sound very broad sweeping and very dismissive of things that I don't think you mean to dismiss. So I investigate to try to understand closer what you're saying. And then just now we got to where I was like, oh, you're speaking for yourself about how you feel fulfillment, not about broadly the success of famous people is a fairy, like it does exist. It's occurring. It's a thing. It's not a fairy tale in that it's occurring.
It's occurring.
It's like saying, I don't know, this pillow is a fairy tale because it's not in your house. It's like, no, it's just a pillow that's occurring over here, but not over there.
But there, yes, it's true. But there are hurdles in the theater and creative life that some people can hop over and some people can't. There are gatekeepers. There's systems in place. I saw that article in the Chronicle about unpaid internships in Northern California. That was a good one. I mean, I remember being in the San Francisco meme troupe, in the 60s when they were founded under Ronnie Davis.
Uh-huh.
That's the
one
mime
experience.
troupe.
The mime troupe. He's talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring it back and use the proper terminology that R.G. Davis laid down. Now you have to pay to apply for an unpaid internship.
And so, what are you saying about that?
I'm saying if you talk to someone who went through that experience and they go to the height of that renowned, important theater company, if I personally couldn't handle, for whatever financial situation, paying that fee or living on the stipend, then what does that success mean to me if that wasn't available to me? I was like, oh, good for you. You got on this lane that you could do. That wasn't available to me. So we're on different measuring sticks.
I hear that. That makes total sense. Yeah. You can only play the game you can play, right? You can only run your own race.
That's I guess what I'm clumsily trying to say.
I hear that. Yeah. There's a weight around it that when you say it doesn't feel, sometimes the weight of it, how you're saying it sounds reactive and angry.
I get that all the time.
However, when you say it like that, it's like the weight isn't there with it then. I'm just naming what I'm experiencing because I think it's key here. It's like the essence of what you're saying is actually quite light, when you say it in the way that your soul is meaning it. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Well, that gets us back to the whole people jokingly call Sam a curmudgeon, but in our heart, this is what I was saying right before you came on. I was like, why people who love you, Sam, love you so like ferociously, like, yeah, I fucking love that guy.
Yeah.
So clearly you're not actually a curmudgeon, like, because we don't actually love curmudgeons. Fuck those guys. Fuck them to get them away. But the soul that speaks is actually the soul that we are very, desirous to continue to be near. So yeah,
I would differ there. I think people in general do love curmudgeons while also keeping them at a bit of an arm's length. And the curmudgeon often gets stuck in that role. And I feel like that
we rely
role,
on you to provide that for us.
Yeah, you're the finger pointing guy. I don't have to point the finger. This guy is the finger pointer. But I think the role of the curmudgeon is best a temporary role. We need to pass the curmudgeon torch to the younger curmudgeons.
That's right. Well, and to be honest, it's true. The word curmudgeon almost automatically has the word lovable attached.
Right,
to it.
Exactly. Lovable curmudgeon.
Right. And an asshole is different. Like, that's just an asshole. You're just over there being an asshole.
I got my feet in both, Cass. I did.
You got pieces of each of those.
Good times. Well, welcome to the podcast. We're happy to have you here. What brings you here today?
We're just getting started, apparently.
I listened to an earlier podcast where you requested the date, time of someone's birth and their city of where they were born and their full name.
Yeah.
Do you want to provide that to us?
It's interesting because I find you both to be very adept at swimming in somewhat deep water, and
I hope so.
I skip stones,
right?
And so just putting that out there now, that doesn't mean that there's not a willingness or a strong desire for me to go into some depths. But I don't have that practice in life.
You can choose to practice it. Yeah. Like you could choose to do that from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there particular depths like that you have in mind in your life? Like what depths would you like to explore that we could explore right now? Because I could take this in a lot of directions, but I'm curious what your interest is. Like the dates, when you say about the dates and the times of your birth, does that interest you, or was that a joke? I can't tell.
That was not a joke. I'd be interested in any insights.
Do you want to run his human design super quick?
I'd be interested in that. I'd be.
And you're talking about human design. You'd be interested in me looking at your human design chart?
Sure.
Okay. And are you interested in, okay, let me just do what we do on the podcast. You're our friend, so I was like in a different zone. But like, have you ever had any, I think I know your response to this, but I don't actually know it. So like, what is your relationship to the word or the idea or the action of spirituality? What does that mean to you? What role does it play? How do you relate to it? Also, I think are you a 4 on the Enneagram?
I skip stones, Kate.
Okay. He might be a 4, don't you think?
Very, very possibly.
Okay. We'll come back to that.
Or a 5.
Or a 5. Yeah.
But, we're not supposed to type other people.
Whatever. But that's what I make a living doing. Carry on.
I currently have very little relationship to spirituality.
Yeah. Except you have a Rumi book by your bed.
I do.
Who is the deepest spiritualist I know.
Okay.
People often start with Rumi. Rumi can be a spirituality gateway drug. Did you know that?
I'm into it. And that's why I bought this book.
That's cool. It's funny you mentioned Rumi, too. I wanted to say this before. Sorry, I know I'm interrupting your answer to my own question, but just because we're on Rumi, I had a healing session with a guy yesterday who, at the end of the session, we both realized he found me. I said, how'd you find me? Why'd you book this session? He said, randomly on the internet, I needed a reading and a healing, and I saw you, and I was like, yeah, I like her vibe. And then it turns out we both studied with Sidi al-Jamal, the same Sufi master of the Shadaliya lineage of Sufism. And the same Sufi sheikh in all the world. And he lives in Tennessee or something. Like, it was uncanny. So we talked a lot about Rumi yesterday and the depths of Rumi. And then here you are bringing Rumi up again. And I have Rumi at the bottom of my email signature. So Rumi is just like everywhere right now. And also everywhere all the time. Rumi resonates with so many people because I think Rumi has this really accessible way of bringing the depths of mysticism to the fore and to the collective through poetry, which is so much less threatening than teachings, even though a lot of it is teachings.
And as I said, I've got a toe in, maybe less.
Yeah.
But on first glance, it seems like the insights in terms of human psychology, the insights in terms of depression, in terms of just the aspects of life seem so incredibly modern and timeless.
Isn't that incredible? I know.
And so for these words to be written 800 years ago is
beyond
ridiculous to me, and it almost feels like it's heaven sent. And so
yeah
I am interested in that. I've read a little bit about Sufism. I've met some people who are into Sufism. I've read a little bit about other religious movements. There's a fascinating one called Subud that I've come across in my work with the committee. And so I'm interested in like religions of like ecstatic experiences, but I guess I'm interested mostly in those ecstatic experiences that live outside of dogma.
Yeah, and that's called mysticism. So the mystics at the heart of every religious path are the spiritualists in the path, and spiritualists are decidedly not religion people. Yeah, so you're talking about the mystics, right?
Sure.
So like it's Kabbalah within Judaism, it's Sufism within Islam, it's Christian mysticism within Christianity. Like the mystics inside the paths are always the ones who get shunned and ostracized by the dogmatic ones in the religion, except for when not. But, that's like the basic whatever. And Sidi, my Sufi master, who I studied with for 6 years, doing ecstatic transcendent healing work with, taught us that, he's like a Muslim master Sufi teacher. He blurred them both and blended them and walked both worlds. He taught us a lot that like the people who misunderstood the religion the most is the most religious ones, because they take dogma as external rule that you just follow because somebody said to follow it, rather than testing with your heart. Wait, how do I have a direct conscious communion with this oneness myself without rule? It's not about the rules. It's about doing what needs doing to get where you're trying to go. So they often say mystics are practical. We're practically looking for direct Gnostic union with the divine.
Isn't that interesting? Because mystics would be dismissed by, scientists or whatever, or science-bound people as being impractical, literally.
Right. And we are in a certain way, but we're also wildly, deeply, excessively practical in terms of how to know ourselves as the oneness and be liberated from depression, anxiety, etc. in so doing. And that's why I've pursued it, is because that the union with the oneness is what takes away all the other stuff that's shitty, and the polarities and the judgments that create suffering and misery and so on and so forth. So I don't know. You're talking to a working, active mystic here.
Love it. And, the connections between that kind of ecstasy and improvisation are like direct line.
Yes, I agree.
And what you're saying to me also reminds me, and makes me fortunate for my religious upbringing, coming up in a church, a congregational Christian church in Connecticut that was...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Not that dogmatic. In fact, probably not dogmatic at all. It's close to Unitarian. It was very liberal.
Huh.
We had ministers who were incredible storytellers. So we had the great storytelling. We had incredible community and great theater productions and great youth groups. But obviously no fire and brimstone, no judgment, no anger, no nothing.
Huh. So how'd you get so fucked up?
How does everybody
living in the Bay Area?
That is a damn good question. And, I don't know. How do we all get fucked up? We all have little time bombs that are planted in our souls that go off when we're 22. And then there you go. And then you're stuck with that for the rest of your life.
Oh,
unless you deal with it. Deal with it.
There you go. It's called having a childhood and then learning how to work with that.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam, I'm putting now I need to know a couple things about your stuff. So tell me, what is your birth date and day?
And we can beep this out so it doesn't go public on that part of it if you'd like, or you can type it into the chat.
I asked my mom this, and so she went and found it.
Well, just tell me the month and the day. Oh, Dude, you're an Aquarius. That's why we're so tight. All right. And what's your year? Okay. And you have the time to the minute?
I do.
AM or PM?
PM.
City?
Connecticut.
I have been there since I moved here.
Really?
Yes.
Did you see my mom?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be peas in a pod, I swear.
Really? Do I get to meet her on August 11th?
I hope, yeah. If all the stars are aligned. Yeah.
I love this. You might have just kept me living here for another 6 months. Okay. All right. Well, you've got Sun Aquarius, Leo Moon, which makes some sense. Rising Virgo, which makes sense. Mercury in Pisces, duh. Venus in Aquarius. How'd you stay married this long? Uranus in Libra, Pluto in Libra, North Node Capricorn. See, it all makes sense, Sam. We're going to talk about what some of that means in 1 second. But first, I'm going to put you also into the Jovian archive because I want to see your human design. And I'm going to synthesize before your eyes right here, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, synthesizing occurring. Sam Shaw, same information. Wow, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defined centers of 9. So that's a person.
I have mostly undefined centers, Sam, for what that's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good to know.
You have a head and ajna defined. Triple split definition, that's a thing. Okay, we got a lot to talk about here. Oh, boy. None of it says curmudgeon. I don't see it anywhere, but it's not here.
So that's self-imposed.
You created that one, buddy.
Or we create. You know what? No, he didn't create it. We created it. We placed that on him.
Thanks, Cass. You put that on me.
Yes, you're a victim.
It's true. I while you're thinking, I just wanted to say, I actually really want to acknowledge that thing that you said earlier, which is like that's a burden role that people require of you. And I guilty, like absolutely guilty. Like I've really enjoyed having the curmudgeon Sam in my life but that's the role I placed upon you and then kind of like milked from you. So that's an interesting thing to know.
Oh,
thanks for letting me know that.
We got to share the burden. So you can be a little more curmudgeon-y and I'll be a little less.
Okay.
That works. I think that works. Well, I'm not sure where to start. So I'll go astrology because we're just, I don't know why. So, so your ego, the sun sign is like, it's what you're here to do and what you're here to be. The rising sign is the vehicle, the shape it's going to take, the form. So oftentimes you'll see the career is in the rising sign or the style of communication, the vehicle that the soul imprint brings to the world. So who you are in the ego personality realm and what you're here to do is in the sun sign. And then the vehicle is the rising sign. The moon tells you where you get your emotional fulfillment. It speaks to your inner emotional nature and how you feel fulfilled and emotionally satisfied. So you've got an interesting one because your sun and moon. So the sun, remember, being like what you're here to do and be, is literally the opposite sign on the chart as what your moon is, which is how you get emotional fulfillment. But interestingly as well, it makes a ton of sense to me knowing you because your sun is Aquarius. And Aquarians are bored with the status quo, open to new things, new ideas, an individualist at all costs, a free spirit. Your friends are quite important to you as long as they don't try to lock you in a box or make a ton of emotional demands. Your thoughts are offbeat. You're a bit eccentric. You're kind of fixed, not always super changeable. As a matter of fact, you can be quite stubborn, very fair-minded with dealing with large groups or broad issues, not always emotionally sensitive to the needs of individuals, extremely objective. Good powers of observation, would be qualified to study technical and complicated subjects like science, computers, or maybe even astrology. That's you. That's the personality. That's what you're here to do. That's how you show up. And by the way, that's me too. I'm also an Aquarius sun. Now, juxtapose that against how you get your emotional needs met. Where you feel fulfilled is going to be the energy of Leo, which is literally the opposite of that. So Leo is like, so when you picture a chart, it's a circle, right? With a bunch of little pie slices cut out of it. So if Aquarius is here, Leo is right across, totally the opposite mirror. So Leo is all about itself, very pride-oriented, center of attention. It's about self-expression. It can be about vanity and flattery and show-offiness and playing and bright, shiny energies. The challenges of Leos, they can get a little snobby, a little uppity. They need admiration and respect. They need center of attention. So the way that they're opposite on the chart, Aquarius and Leo, is Aquarius decentralizes the self, and Leo totally centralizes the self. So Aquarius says it's about speaking to the public and helping the people and being here for the people. And Leo says, no, it's about me. It's all about me. Me, look over here at me. Now, of course, you can, as a Leo, do things for the populace, but you'd be doing them from a place of, look at me doing them, right? And we can judge either side of that or make one side or the other right or wrong. But of course, we know judgment gets us nowhere. So instead, we try to integrate all these aspects. So to me, knowing the kind of performer you are the quirky, individualist, eccentric performer, but you're a performer. You got performer in your moon. You're going to be satisfied and fulfilled by being proud of yourself, not looking bad, getting admiration and respect, enjoying attention drawn to yourself, stubborn, willful, independent, once again, need for love and affection, need for applause, need for vanity, have your head easily turned by flattery. The more insecure you are, the more you tend to be a show-off. You love games and sports, as a matter of fact. You'd rather play than work. So if we can meet in you the emotional needs of the Leo, the emotional needs that Leo has, the energy of Leo, then you're going to have a lot more satisfaction in your life, which would kind of explain everything you've been talking about here today. But if you're in judgment of those needs, it's impossible to get them met.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you go like, I shouldn't be snobby and I shouldn't need flattery and I shouldn't want to be the center of attention and I shouldn't be willful and independent and shiny and vain, well then, okay, you'll never get the needs met of your emotional nature. Now, the vehicle all of this goes in and shows up in the world as your rising sign is Virgo, which is interesting. Virgo, the image I always get for Virgo is something like crops in a field because it's an earth sign, but they're very tidily organized crops. So there's 3 different earth signs, Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. And you can think of Virgo as the one that's like fastidiously organizing its earthiness into containers that are perfectly designed to hold each individual thing they were designed to hold. You know, like the Container Store was made by a Virgo, okay? So the vehicle, the form of expression that this all takes is going to be Virgan, you could say. Here are some words this person uses to describe Virgo energy. Shy, not always self-assertive, super critical about how you appear to others. You might think you're uninteresting and dull, but you're quite soft-spoken, orderly, neat, and likable. You're a perfectionist with high standards. At times you can be tactless in pointing out the faults of others. Very practical, efficient, and purposeful. Your appearance and bearing reflect your need to appear graceful, sensible, and reserved. You have a crisp, no-nonsense approach to dealing with others. Not lazy or self-indulgent, you tend to be dedicated to the work ethic. Now, remember, we're talking about Aquarius is who you are. Virgo is how you bring that forth. Leo is what you need emotionally. So I would, if I were summarizing that in Katie Rubin language, I would say you're an eccentric, creative weirdo who needs to be the center of attention and get praise and adoration from others to feel good. And the form that's going to take, it's going to come in some kind of orderly, organized boxes things can fit in kind of package.
Short form.
Which kind of sounds like your freaking documentary in a way.
There's so much there that rings so true. And I'm thinking of also a way that I'm challenging myself in my mind, since I'm not doing any improv at the moment. But in my mind, I'm looking at, are the two approaches to improvisation that I've been kind of struggling to reconcile, is one Aquarian and is one Leo. And so as an improviser, I've been kind of floating on my speed of thought and my reference level and my wit for years.
Right.
I've been subsidized by that. It actually masks the many faults I have as an improviser. It masks my struggle with being present with my scene partner. It masks my poor listening skills. It masks the fact that I don't remember. I can't call anything fucking back because I have no memory anymore. But I'm like the fast and funny guy, and I can take that pretty far.
Yeah.
But it is definitely, and so that feels Aquarian.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The improviser who says, I don't need control. I'm going to go into the cave with no information and go on a journey into the unknown with my scene partner and not have our relationship worked out or not always knowing what we're doing in this scene. That feels Leo.
I've switched those. I feel like Leo is going to be the fast, furious, funny guy, and Aquarian is the community-minded. I'm here and I'm present.
But is Aquarian all ego?
No, Leo's all ego.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Oh, I switched it.
Yeah, you switched it. But your point is well taken. Like, I think they're absolutely. Now, I would posit, and this is helpful to me to be thinking of it this way, is that we still sit in judgment of the polarity there, as opposed to, I love this part of what I'm doing. I would like to do more of this. And it's true. Sometimes this gets in the way of that.
Right.
But it's not to say this is wrong.
No.
Right.
Because I need to do more of this. No, this is great. And sometimes it gets in the way of this. So
100%.
How do I add more of this the best improviser is the one who is doing both of those all the time.
Right. Exactly. And that's right. The human too. The most effective human is integrating all parts of self and not judging any of it, because everything you judge just gets louder anyway.
Right. And I guess, and I hear that, and I did seem judgmental of one or the other earlier. And yes, to not judge either and to try to integrate rather than totally abandon or think that I can ditch one paradigm for another easily as if it's a hat.
Totally.
I think it's important for us all to find moments where we're ready to embrace growth. And it takes many years to figure that out.
No, everybody's quick like bunnies about it. Listen.
So easy to grow.
Here's something else you need to know. Your Mercury, we have to talk about two more things just because I can't leave this one dangling and not share it with you because it's happening even in this conversation. Mercury is about how you communicate and express yourself. You have it in Pisces, and Pisces is almost the antithesis of Virgo. So if you think of Virgo as being like, we're gonna get a spreadsheet. We're gonna figure out perfect timing and organization. We're gonna manage this with our minds and some math and a spreadsheet and containers and perfection. Pisces is dreams and wind and water and transcendent oneness with the all that is. And you have that in your communication style. How you communicate is Piscean. Your ideas and thought processes do not come to you in an orderly, logical fashion. Instead, you think with your feelings or images produced by your rich, fertile imagination. A very subjective person, your dreams and fantasies are very important to you. You trust your intuitions and tend to reject ideas that are based solely in logic. Well, maybe. Very impressionable, you're sensitive to the moods and emotional states of those with whom you come into contact. So Pisces is very affected by the energy around it. It's very sensitive. It's very psychic. It's very emotional, very spiritual, very dreamy, very otherworld, very transcendence. And how you communicate, literally how you say words, Sam, is going to be Piscean. And I noticed that about you, and it would make me wrongfully think that your rising was not Virgo. But that's because I'm paying attention to your communication style, not the vehicle that your expression takes. But if I think about improvising with you and the way your mind works around what we should do that day, how we're going to do it, it is very Virgo. But how the words come out, very Pisces. Is this making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Two more quickies, because I know I'm saying a lot of words here, but I just feel like since we're in your chart, we should really look at the basics. Your Venus is in Aquarius, which means how you love and connect with others is going to be very Aquarian. And we've discussed the qualities of Aquarius. And your North Node is in Capricorn. So the North Node speaks to the full direction of your life. Like, where's your life going? What's it all about? What's the whole direction you're heading toward? And yours is Capricorn, which is another earth sign, which is the Capricorn's all about work, business, management. I'll read how they say it here, and then I'll give you my interpretation. You rarely get involved closely with anyone unless he or she has something specific and practical to offer you. You tend to be all business when it comes to dealing with others.
Look at the face Sam's making while you read this.
But let me say more. Hold on. Just stay with me. You're usually so focused on a goal that you really have time for niceties or casual fellowship. You can definitely be counted on by others to get things done. When you say you'll do something, you do it. As such, you're a valuable member of any team and probably rise to a position of leadership. Your trustworthiness and sense of responsibility are unquestioned. Do try to avoid the temptation to use others to reach your goals. They might come to resent you. Now, that's the North Node. The way I would say Capricorn is about work, management. They're a little buttoned up. It's a controlled energy. It's very earthy. It's like a mountain. It's about home, family, and work. That's Capricorn. Responsibility, work, family, home. And remember, this is where your life is heading. Your life is heading into the energy of taking you, the vehicle of you, into a Capricorn direction. So it's not who you are, and it's not how you feel, and it's not how you show up. It's where you're headed.
That's great to know, and I like it. It feels absolutely not correct for my current moment, except the piece where I'm very sensitive to
and how I work with people, it is kind of a little transactional, but it's also very improvisational. It's very much like if I'm working with someone, I'm like, I'll do this thing and I'll give it to you. And then you'll do your thing and you'll give it back to me. And then I'll do my thing and I'll give it to you. Mm-hmm. Just basic, decent improvisational technique of listening and building. And if in my work life, personal life, improv life, if I don't feel that flow or feel that back and forth, it brings huge feelings of resentment, almost unleashed, and not like, I'm not like a boiling fount of anger. I don't yell a lot, but I simmer and it's in the face and it's generally not pleasant. It's that bad water, man. I need to drill.
So if someone isn't returning the transaction, like the unspoken deal you've made with them,
it hurts me. It really hurts. It's personal.
Right.
That's such a hard one. That one's big in life because it's often in a situation where you haven't actually, this deal is not explicit.
Right.
They didn't agree to it. You created an agreement and then they didn't live up to their end of this agreement that you created in your mind. I don't know. I shouldn't say you. I've done this. So like we've all done this. But it's a rough one.
Yeah. A teacher I talked about, she always says, look, make your transactions explicit. Don't you can't, any part of yourself that you judge and try to exile is just going to come up louder. You've got to instead own it, state it out loud, see if the other person is on board. And if not, you find someone who is. That's the healthy transactional nature of relationships. So I think it's just about making it explicit but I'll tell you, if you have Mercury in Pisces, everything you're saying makes a ton of sense. And also you have Venus in Aquarius. So let me say, what that means is how you love, Sam, and how you connect has to have standards and righteous kind of, what's the word I want? Aquarian's all about fairness and what's right for people, what justice, that's the word I want. And so when there's no justice, but in the Venus realm, which is connection, relationships back and forth, that's going to be really hard on an Aquarian Venus with a person with Venus in Aquarius, because you're about fairness. You're about justice and equity in how you love. So yeah, to help yourself with that, a tool would just be stated explicitly. Hey, here's what I think would be just. I'd like, you get it. So anyway.
I get it. And I just would love to ask you really quickly, knowing that our time is kind of running out a little bit here.
Yeah.
Where does feelings of disempowerment and martyrdom play into this design? Mm-hmm. Why do I always feel like fucking Eeyore?
Well, okay. Now I need to go to your human design because I'm wondering if you have opportunist investigator. That's the 4-1 profile, juxtaposition, cross of fates. Well, I'm going to have to look at your human design to find more about that. But I would say that leaning into that would be that Pisces energy can go to that place. The Mercury in Pisces. Let me look where else that would show up. You don't really have anything else that would suggest that to me in your astrology. But what I would say is, wherever that comes from, that's work throughable for any human. Because you've got to look at what you're bringing to a room or an interaction and how you're being understood or misunderstood, and then communicate effectively around it so that you are correctly heard and seen, so that if you're not an Eeyore, you don't be perceived as one. But if you're being an Eeyore, you own it and do your work around it to grieve whatever needs to be grieved, so you're not bringing Eeyore vibes.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends on the situation.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for calling out the grieving too. I think that's a huge, very important verb for me and everyone, I guess.
For all human beings, like, oh my God, all day with clients, I mean, everything comes back to grieving. Every defensive strategy we have is standing in front of something that if we were to grieve that thing, we wouldn't need to defend against it anymore.
Yeah.
And I can say that abstractly, and I can also say it from personal experience. Everything I let myself cry about becomes a thing I no longer have to have a defensive energy in front of.
That's great.
Because when we cry through it, the part of us that got exiled by the original trauma integrates back up into the wholeness of the self. And then you're just like, oh, I'm just like this and you're like that, and there's nothing to defend.
Excellent.
No big deal. Just the work of a lifetime for all of us.
Thanks for all those insights, Katie. I've never had my chart done in detail like that. It's so much rings so true.
Oh, I'm so glad. And that's tip of the iceberg. There's so much more, that could be looked at. And I just want to say personally, when I look at your chart, I'm like, well, duh, that I love you, because we have like so many planets in common and in placements that are complementary. So I'll give for the listener an example is just when your sun is where somebody's moon is, that's very complementary dynamic, and vice versa. And also, like, if your rising is where somebody's sun is, you're going to do well together. So anyway, I'm looking at your chart and we have some fun
Yeah, and I have
stuff.
like none of those with either of you. It's funny.
Is that true?
I don't think. Yeah. Me, I'm Gemini, Libra, Gemini. Like,
No, but there's a lot between Libra and Aquarius.
Oh, okay.
And also Gemini and Aquarius, because they're both air signs, Gemini and Aquarius. So we're both chatty, chat, friend, chat. It's all about friendship and chatting.
It's a good thing we have a podcast.
Yeah. No, we have a ton of that too. All of us do.
No, I want to be the outsider.
Yeah, I just think martyrdom is really a thing you have to work through. I wanted to look at your human design to see if there is like a cross called the cross of martyrdom, or if you were a certain profile, but can't let you off that easy because you're not. So sounds like you have some grieving to do like the rest of us.
It's not inherent to your nature. Be a martyr.
Wah, wah.
It's a created problem.
Good. I'm glad it's not inherent to my nature. It's not a fun role.
No.
I got to say, I mean, we're basically out of time because we try and keep these to about 90 minutes, mainly for Desmond's sake.
Yeah.
Not for any other reason. But I feel like we have just started. I kind of feel like we need to have you on again real soon, like do a part 2. Because like...
Would you come back?
I absolutely would, especially if we can improvise a scene.
Yeah, we'll do some improv. We'll go into the records, maybe. There's a whole other thing. This conversation just started.
Yeah, we didn't even get into the records. We didn't improvise. And that's like, we need to improvise too. Duh. So not next week or the week after, but can you come 3 weeks from now? Think about it. Look at your calendar.
I'll think about it. Look at the calendar.
Yeah, we're going to have Sam Shaw, part ducks, coming up sometime soon.
This one feels nice and meditative. I feel very relaxed and centered now. I feel very like, I
think it's because Sam like sits on this microphone and talks like this.
He does Barry White it a little bit.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's very soothing.
You ready to talk about sweaty balls? Sweaty balls?
Let's sweaty balls it. It's also Mercury and Pisces. He took us all into his Pisces like otherworldly lull.
It's nice. Yeah.
Okay, you rock.
Thank you so much for all the insights. I really, really appreciate it. And I will
awesome.
think on them, and they will inform my next steps.
Sounds good. Can you also poop on them?
Yeah.
Great.
And just poop on this. Do your work in the meantime.
All right. Well, thank you both. It was great to see you.
Yeah, we'll talk. We need to have a Zoom just to do scheduling and stuff. Don't you think?
Yeah.
We need to talk about
End
it.
End of play. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
You asking for all of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod. @allanswerspod. Thank you.
I said that we have to bleep that for sure, although I loved it.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.